what does new thought mean? How do I express it better in the world? Maybe there's people that have some reactions to some of the words. And so while I was on retreat, Spirit said, time to give a talk. So what I did was I put all the words that I could be aware of in here that we use or that I use at this church, at this center. And Spirit said, just take some time with it. It could be like, I'm not going to say it's a 3-part series. It could be 10. Who knows? We'll know when it's through. But it's starting now. If there's any other, you can look at it. And I'm going to redo this and make the words bigger so hopefully those in the back can see it as we work over it. So we're starting with oneness. This here is going to go up in here somewhere. So last week I talked about oneness and what that meant. We're going to continue that again today. And the first thing I want to share with you is the spiritual mind treatment that I gave to you. The first words, do you remember what it said? I am grounded in principle, which principle is on this list as well, and we'll get to that later down the road. God is the only reality. That's oneness. There's nothing else. I could stop right there and just say God is the only reality of everything. If we connect to God and ourselves in everything that's going on in our life, that's the reality. It's not my ego. It's not my fear. It's not my separation. It's not any of that stuff. It's God, the reality of everything. Therefore, then it continues. I see the divine, which is God, source, spirit, in every person, object, idea, moment, and expression, for there is nothing else. Again, that says oneness. Everything in the world, every idea that I have, that you have, God is in it if we open ourselves up to it. Every object that we have came from creation, from God through somebody or another. This moment is opening up to the divine moment. The divine, that word you like, Marion, when we say our prayers. The holy instant. Isn't that a beautiful phrase? The holy instant. In this moment, I'm open up to that. And my expression, your expression, everybody's expression comes from God. Now, there are sometimes we have our ego get in the way, which is what's going to be coming up next. But the option of us opening up to God and how it expresses to us is so powerful to know that it's around all the time. So when I know this, I love myself as a being of God expression. So therefore, I am a being, I am oneness with God's expression through me, and I love myself more. I connect to myself more. When I do that, then I can do that with everybody around. So, to know that God is with everybody, everything, every bit of life, there is source. Now, the soul, of which is another word that's up here, right there, and who we are, has a longing for oneness. Ooh, that word longing. Because that's where it came from, the soul came from, was this oneness with God. And yet what happens in our life, because of our ego, we seem to have an obsession with avoiding it, thinking that we're being weak or in fear, or we get separate from everything instead of being connected to the oneness. So our mind comes in, we have to deal with that. We have a split mind, God mind, ego mind. We have to keep working about that longing, because it's a longing of the heart. It's a longing to remember. And what does the soul want to remember? What it felt like when it was one with God. Where it came from. It didn't have a relationship with God, because that's like outside. It was God. It was one with God in source. In all of creation. Our soul. Think about that. No, we have to take ourselves beyond our name, our experiences, our body, or whatever it is, and know that we are a soul and we are one with God. We just forgot it sometime after. But not only is that longing about when we were back with God in all of creation, oneness with God, but also when we were in the soul, we still felt that. And we were in this wonderful womb where we were taken care of in all of our needs. We didn't worry, did we? In the womb? No. No worries, because we were receiving still the oneness from God. We were still receiving the love from God. It was a natural state. And so in that womb, we were living the natural, innate connection that we had with God. In utero. So it was a time that all of our needs were met. Our food came in, our warmth.
You need to change up that.
Yeah, okay. Pause.
Yeah, time out.
This message is brought to you by the Lord. Thank you for joining us.
Where's the money?
Provisioning Committee has been working rather hard. We've put a pretty good presentation together your way in the next few weeks. Stay tuned for more information on that. And those who are eager and feel the Spirit moving within them today, you'll notice a lot of us, in fact.
Yay, thank you.
Jim.
Oh, come on. Okay, let's start over. No. We're talking about longing. Feel that word inside because we have it still within us. It comes from our heart. Our heart has this longing because it remembers what it was like to be with God, to have that natural, innate connection of oneness with Source. It remembers the time that we had all our needs taken care of. And it was a willingness in our heart to open up to the blessings and to the oneness of Source. That is inside of us, beloveds. All we have to do, we have to remember, feel that longing inside of us. So it's not only a longing of the heart, it's a condition of the heart, which means it's something that happens. It's a willingness to open up to the blessings of oneness, the blessings of God within us all the time, and remember that and feel that. And let go of all the other stuff that comes in our mind. The fear that tends to want to keep us in this old place. I really want you to get that it's a longing. It's there. Every moment of the day, our heart is open up and longing to be joyful and oneness with God and we're not worried, to know that all our needs are met. All we have to do is ask. How many teachings are there that say, ask and you shall receive? It'll be there for you. Hard thing for us to remember sometimes in our ego mind. When we look at condition, when we look at form around us, instead of remembering the truth of who we are, which is the oneness of life. So to do that, beloveds, it requires that we reclaim our inherent faith in ourselves, in life, in each other. That's important too, to have faith in myself that I am okay, to have faith that my life is going well, God is taking care of me. If I have faith in that, then I have faith in my life. I have faith in each and every one of you. There's a prayer that I say a lot, and we have it in our Sunday morning prayer time too. It says, Father, Mother, Life, you are my life. You are my constant source. You are my health. You are my prosperity. You are my life. You are my perfect expression of all my needs. You are my highest ideal. Did you get all the words of that? You are my life, not me, you. You are my support. You are my source for everything in my life all the time. You are my highest ideal. Ooh, that is so powerful too, to just connect to, let go of life stuff and go to God, which is the highest principle, the highest ideal that we can connect to. So many prayers that we have. And that's our connection to one another. Once I feel that about my life, I feel it about each and every one of you and everybody out there. And then we have compassion and love and blessings for one another because we're all one. James Twyman, who's a teacher of mine and who has been at this church and is a fan of the church, I tell you that because that's true, called The Proof, which was a 40-day program for embodying oneness. And there's all these different ideas about what oneness is, not ideas but truths of it. It ranges from the rhythm of oneness to feel the rhythm of how oneness works in our life when we open up to it. When we're out of fear, there's a rhythm of life that we can trust and we go along and we say, everything's okay. I'm floating along. I'm one with God. I trust God. The last one is the mystery of oneness, which is very important because it is a mystery. We hear that word, but sometimes it's like, what does it really mean when I'm here and you're there and you're here and everybody's out there and money's here and all that sort of stuff? How do I really connect to the oneness of life? That's what this talk is about, to remember, first of all, that it's a rhythm. So therefore, we want to continue, and I will share more about those oneness principles as we go along here, by the way, looking at my written notes. Let's continue and look at oneness in money. Ooh, that's a hard thing to look at sometimes in our physical life. We pay attention to our checking account or our wallet or our purse, or we say, oh, I'm lacking money there. and we get into fear instead of saying, no, I am one with God. Do you have some money on you right off the bat? Could I see it? That you can reach really easily?
Mark is going to stop sitting in the front seat.
Now, whatever it is, this is oneness with God. It happens to be a piece of paper with all this stuff written on it, but it's our way in our life to express the oneness of God. It's how we buy things and spend money for things, etc., etc. So we can look at this sometimes and we have a thought that says, oh, I'm only worthy of so much. If I had a $1,000 bill, there might be some people saying, whoa, a $1,000 bill, I've never seen that. That's separate from me. How much we separate ourselves from things regarding money, which is just God. Didn't I say earlier, God is in every object and idea and moment? When we spend money, that's God spending money for us, for whatever it is that we're needing to buy to fulfill our needs. Because way back in the beginning of time, we gave up our connection to Source, knowing that we were taken care of. So now, we have to take care of ourselves through this, but it's still God. Huh? In God we trust. So to know that anytime you have a thought that says something about lack, you're separating yourself from God because God is there. And we need to remember that. God is in our health, in the cells of our body. If God is everywhere, there's no place where God is not. All the cells of my body and my muscles and my bones and the blood flowing through my body, everything is God. So when we begin to experience dis-ease, something separate from that, we're disconnected from God. We have a fear coming in. We're stressing ourselves out too much, or we're not believing that we're being taken care of. We have to go do it. We have to do, instead of just calm down and say, God's leading me. Let me open up and listen. And we do prayer group here, and lots of people get healed, right? Prayer is very powerful. Let me share an example with you. As I stated last Sunday, I have been part of a soul group for 2 years doing work from the Soul Academy of Soul Manifestation, which was Jimmy's work. And there was 25 or 30 of us at the retreat. 6 of us were people who had been ordained years before. It was my 10th anniversary, actually, to be ordained as a minister of spiritual peacemaking. And it was so cool to be there with people who I knew from before, as well as the 25 that were all new, that had completed this 2-year program. Everybody connected through the exercises that we did and being there with the oneness of Source and God and love. It was really great. So everybody's been sending emails back and forth. How wonderful it was to be there. Well, one woman who was my soul student from California, named Lynn, when she flew out from California to Portland, she saw this lady sitting by herself in an airplane with a spiritual book on her lap. I can't remember what it was, Power and Force, something like that. She decided to sit next to her and said, wow, they had this wonderful conversation with one another. And this lady talked to her about how she had some problems with her knee and she was going to have to do surgery, and she was really scared about it. And I'm not sure what was just from what the doctors had said, not sure all of what it was. So Lynn, last few days ago, sent an email out to the whole group saying, can we all have some prayers for this woman that her surgery goes well and so forth. You want to know what the reply was? She sent an email back on Saturday morning, saying that the woman went in for surgery. She had prepared herself emotionally for it, physically getting herself that she's going to have to do this. She goes to the doctor does some more x-rays and looks at her and says, well, whoever did this before didn't make the right diagnosis. You don't need to have any surgery on her knee. Now, that's prayer to me. That's oneness with God. The interesting thing is, this woman was so upset with the diagnosis at first because she said, I spent all this time getting ready for surgery and all this, and I go there and it's not. And then she finally let that all go and opened up to the life of God flowing through her. We all want to do that. Open up to the life of God flowing through us because we are one. We also talk about oneness with relationship. To know that we are one with each other and everybody out there, no matter who they are, no matter what they're doing, It doesn't, only in our own mind do we separate ourselves from one another. And therefore, when we do that, we separate ourselves, from God within us. So the goal is to remember that each of us has God flowing through us in every aspect of our life. And our relationships are important here and in our life out there. So, I gave an example about money. I gave an example about health. Let's give an example about relationship. Your turn.
Now you're in trouble.
Now,
I did it.
okay.
This isn't the Catholic Church.
It's a positive thing. You did it.
Oh, I
That's
did?
true. Yes, you did. You claimed it. Okay. Last week, Mark put in a prayer request. I know we've been doing some work with him around his move to Florida. And as much as we would not like him to move, that's where he's supposed to be. And so the prayer list he had was he needs help with money and finances, the sale of the house. Sometimes I'm discouraged and frightened. And when I read that, I was like, oh my God, I can connect to that. I know what discouragement and frightened is, and he shouldn't be experiencing this. So in this moment, we see the oneness of Mark. We know that he is on this journey to Florida, and it's very important for him to be there. So we're going to do two things, maybe three things. First of all, I want you all to, in your mind's eye, visualize that Mark has got the sale of his house completed, easily and effortlessly. Can we do that? In your mind's eye, feel his house. The for sale sign says sold. See Mark receiving the money from the sale of the house, feeling the joy and the happiness. We see Mark packing up all of his clothes, getting everything that he hasn't already ready, packing the car. And on the map, we see him going from Farmington to Florida. Whereabouts in Florida?
Near Fort Myers.
Okay, wherever that's at, somewhere in the middle, I think.
George, I keep seeing Mark on a beach in a lounge chair with three women and girls.
Okay,
Hey, Christmas Day on the beach.
that's great because we are the one mind of God. We got to be open to that.
Send your postcards back this way.
So,
I have a postcard list.
Okay, good.
and it's interesting listening to God because two things came about for me listening to it. One was I was going to do this in the beginning and I forgot to talk about the other two men. I'll do that. After the introduction, I was going to do something, and then I get the message this morning, wait and do it during your talk. So I'm like, okay. Second thing is Randy said, I had the songs from Fred. I put the bulletin together on Thursday, and I put Randy's name up there to be the prayer, the spiritual message. And then I forgot to call him. So I'm driving to church, and I'm going, oh, I forgot to call Randy. I called Randy and said, I apologize for being late. Can you do this? He said, sure. I was already getting ready. I said, okay, God, thank you. So we see Mark leaving this congregation, but he doesn't leave it. It's all part of the one. He takes our energy with him. And his energy is with us because there is no separation. There is only the oneness. So we visualize him in Florida doing his ministry, which is something he wants to do and is going to expand. And whatever experience you've had from speaking here and connecting with one another is going to help you. Can you see him? What is it you want to do? Like,
Moving hearts.
What do I want to do?
Yeah.
Christmas Day on the beach.
Well,
okay.
there you go.
Well, we'll see that. That's a great mission.
Everything else is going to unfold like it's supposed to.
Okay. So can we all see that about him? He is a divine being. He deserves to have all of that, and that God is in him in every moment in life. So we're going to do two things. First, we're going to tone his name. Ready? Mark. We're not through yet. I'm going to miss you. Okay.
I saw you too.
But I see you on the way. Everything's being taken care of. It's just your fear that keeps getting in the way. You got to let it go. Trust. You've been trusting, but more trust, more faith, knowing that God is taking care of this. So you got to let it go. And we're going to help you by being in this place of joy and happiness for yourself. So I want you to receive from everybody. And I want the rest of you, when I say go, I want you to yell out at him. I want you to say, yay, Mark, or whistle, or whatever it is we're going to do out loud. Everybody, as much as you can, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
Thank you,
Mark! Way to go, Mark! Woo!
That means it's a done deal.
Yes, it is. Right now, it's done. No more worry, no more concern.
Oh, and we all have an invitation to come and sit on the beach with you.
Go ahead and mail the
At
postcards.
some point.
Yeah, go ahead and mail the postcards.
Send the postcards now.
Okay, you ready? Thank
I'm
you.
ready.
Thank you
I'm
for,
ready. We're going to do it.
good. So all of this about oneness, we could feel that. We can feel Mark. We see the love for Mark. And it's about our self-love. Our self-love is our connection to oneness. The more that we love ourselves totally, and we let go of any fears, any judgments about ourselves, and totally love whoever we are, whatever it is that's going on in our life. That's what we need to do. Let go of everything else. Love yourself and connect to God and the oneness that you have. And it's something, this oneness is something that we sense deep within, but we tend to become disconnected from it at times. And we attach ourselves to things outside. We forget about the oneness and we go, oh, I'll be a lot better when I get the house I want, or this relationship, if you'd act better in my life, or if I had more money, or if my health was better, etc., then I would be okay. Rather than going, no, all of those things are form. All I got to be worried about, not even worried, but concerned or even connected to is God. Turn it over to God every moment and feel the oneness of Source within me. And when we let go of that need from outside, we fill ourselves up with the goodness of the oneness of God. So, I would like everybody to stand up. I want each side to turn around and face each side. We did this individually last time, but we're going to do it this time. I want this side to repeat to this side. You guys just open your arms and receive, and then you'll do it to them, okay? This side is all going to say at one time, repeat the words after me to these people here. I behold the Christ in you.
I behold the Christ in you.
I behold the Christ in me.
I behold the Christ in me.
I behold the Christ in everyone.
I behold the Christ in everyone.
We are one, we are one.
We are one, we are one.
Okay, this side's turn now to say to these people, and you guys just receive. I behold the Christ in you.
I behold the Christ in you.
I behold the Christ in me.
I behold the Christ in me.
I behold the Christ in everyone.
I behold the Christ in everyone.
We are one, we are one.
We are one.
Okay. You feel the oneness? Okay, you can sit. I want to end this by saying that yesterday was November the 1st, so it was 11/1/11/11, which is a very important time. What?
Veterans Day.
It was Veterans Day as well, but 11/11, the numbers adds up to 1, which is a master number. And we had the experience of that yesterday, the energy coming through. I've talked to you about how energy flows through us in so many ways. And so from our teacher, my teacher, our Father, Mother, God, and the company of heaven are sending forth a call of awakening humanity to a higher active of service during this critical time. On behalf of you and me, and every single person, group, organization, company, and activity of life that is in any way striving to add to the light of the world, our godparents and the company of heaven are orchestrating a divine plan that will allow us to unify our hearts and expand our light work 1,000 times. Each and every one of us has been preparing for this moment. What the company of heaven wants in each one of us is clearly understand is that the tapestry of life for the new earth will be incomplete without all of your golden threads and everybody's. In spite of what you may believe about how inadequate you may feel when it comes to being a light worker, no one's golden thread is any more important than another person's golden thread. Every person's golden thread is critical to the success of this holy endeavor involving our Earth's ascension into the light, which is our ascension as well. It is for this very reason our Father, Mother, God, and the company of heaven are orchestrating a divine plan to empower and expand every person's light work 1,000-fold. So it's coming down for each and every one of us, my dears. Be prepared and open for it. And it's called Remembering Our Heart Commitment. So, during this time, Our purpose and reason for being on earth is to help ease the pain and the suffering of our sisters and brothers that are experiencing this. Only then will we be able to lift their heads above the chaos effectively enough to once again reconnect with their I Am presence and to complete their ascension and all of our ascensions into the new earth. So, awakening humanity promised to help our asleep brothers and sisters to awaken as soon as possible, and that's all of us, to keep waking up more and more. We have agreed to do whatever is necessary in order to help them and ourselves transmute the surfacing negativity from the old earth. So what I want you to do is begin to listen to your heart. Respond to our Father, Mother God's clarion call for help and support. Your light, your love, and your divine intervention are needed now. So claim it for yourselves and for all of us and the oneness that we are. Namaste.